The Maselli Group presents seminars and workshops, advanced presentation skills for financial professionals with Frank Maselli, financial industry expert and author of the best-selling book, Seminars, The Emotional Dynamic. Episode 4, Finding Your Style.
Hi, I'm Frank Maselli. Welcome back for Episode 4, Finding Your Style. You know, every speaker develops over time a certain speaking style. This is the point or the moment where you are the most comfortable. It's your delivery. It's the way you behave in front of that room. And we all have a style. We all have a natural way of presenting and preparing for a presentation. I'm going to share with you a tool that will help you discover your natural style earlier in the process. The whole purpose of this training program, by the way, is to shave maybe 5 years off your learning curve and to save you tens of thousands of dollars in mistakes. This tool, I think, will go a long way in doing that. It's one of the most valuable tools I've ever discovered in my 30 years in this business, and I think it will help you tremendously, not just for presentations, but for almost anything you do in this business and, frankly, in life in general. So let me get into this a little bit. I think it'll help you. I'm going to do it fairly quickly because there's a tremendous amount of information on my website, and we can go as deep as you want. We could spend the whole day talking about this, but let me just give you the overview, and I think this will be valuable. Okay, it's called the Kolbe A Index, and I have used this now for 15 years with financial professionals with tremendous results. The Kolbe A is a very unique program. It's a test that I would like you to take. But let me explain where it comes from first, a little background. There are 3 parts of the human mind. This goes back to Psych 101. Some of you will remember some of this, okay? There's the cognitive mind, which deals with learned abilities, intellect, and intelligence. We measure the cognitive mind by taking tests, SAT when we're in high school, Series 7 to get into the business, IQ tests when we're children. Plenty of ways to measure and to quantify the cognitive mind. Then there's something called the affective mind, affective. This deals with desires, emotions, and personality. And we actually are pretty good at measuring the affective mind. We use tests like the Myers-Briggs. I'm sure many of you have taken a Myers-Briggs or something called a DISC test, D-I-S-C. Again, very popular personality tests, and they help us quantify the personality part of the mind, the desires, the wishes, the likes and dislikes. These 2 parts of the mind are very powerful and they drive us all day, every day. But there's a 3rd part of the mind that drives us even more. The 3rd part is called the conative mind. The conative mind deals with actions, behaviors, and instincts. And it answers the question, not what do you know, knowledge is cognitive. Not what do you want or wish for, that's personality. It answers the question, what do you do? What is your actual behavior in a certain circumstance? What is the action you take? When I give you a challenge or a task, what do you do? Not what do you know how to do or what do you want to do, what do you actually do? There are 200 personality tests in America that have been validated by the American Psychological Association. There's 20,000 cognitive tests that we use all the time. There's only one instinct test. There's only one conative test, and that's called the Kolbe A Index. The Kolbe measures 4 things. The first one is called Fact Finder. Fact Finder is your instinct for processing information or data. How do you deal with information or data? Are you detail-oriented or are you a top line, just cut to the chase kind of a person? And by the way, there are no good or bad instincts. This is very important. Okay, the only bad instincts are the ones you don't know because instincts are operating on all of us subconsciously all the time. So that's Fact Finder, very simple. The second one is called follow-through. Follow-through is your instinct for organization, discipline, structure, procedure. Simple example I like to use is somebody who's in the middle zone, the 4, 5, 6 zone of follow-through. This is an average organized individual. They make a list before they go to the grocery store. Somebody who's a 7, 8, 9, 10 follow-through makes the list by aisle. When my wife gives me a list of groceries, it's not a random list of stuff. It's an alphabetical list, or even better, it's a map. Go here, go there, go here, go there. very organized. That's called hyper-organized. Somebody who's a 1, 2, 3 and follow through loses the list on the way to the grocery store and wanders the aisle seeking inspiration. Quick start is the third one. Quick start is your instinct for innovation, risk-taking, experimenting, ad-libbing, making stuff up, trying new things. Somebody who's a 1, 2, 3 and quick start is instinctively drawn to ideas that are proven, tested, reliable, consistent. A new idea doesn't break into their world very easily. They don't handle change very well on an instinctive level. Somebody who's in the middle zone, much more comfortable. Somebody who's in the 7, 8, 9, 10 zone, these people are changing for fun. They seem sometimes to be loose cannons to other folks. They love to make stuff up. They love to ad-lib. They love to try new ideas. They're very comfortable with new situations. Interesting. We're going to talk more about this in a second. I'm going to show you my Kolbe scores in a moment. You'll get a kick out of them. You'll understand why I'm up here speaking to you. These are also great verbal communicators, by the way. The final one is a little interesting. It's a little weird, and it doesn't have a direct impact on our business. We don't get a lot of these folks in our business. It's called implementer. Implementer is your instinct for using tools or working with your hands, getting physical, tactile, tangible, building things, constructing things, repairing things. Somebody who's a 7, 8, 9, 10, they don't come into the financial services profession. They're out there repairing locomotives, building houses. They sculpt granite. It's not our world typically, and I've done 10,000 Kolbes with financial professionals, and I can count only 29 people I've ever met that were in this category. Now, the general population, there's plenty, but not in our business. Again, right in here is the I can fix the copier. Okay, there's a jam copier. This is the person who goes in and fixes it. This is the person who jams the copier. 1, 2, 3, don't work on your car, don't change light bulbs. You have no physical instincts at all. So I'm giving you the hyperbolic version of this. I'm giving you the extreme version for the sake of simplicity. Let me show you how this applies. What does this have to do with speaking? Why are we talking about this? Well, it has everything to do. It's critical to understand. These are my Kolbe scores. I took my Kolbe about 15 years ago, and when I got my scores back, it was a revelation. It was like somebody lifted a blanket from in front of my face and said, now do you understand? All the stupid things I ever did in my world and all the good things I ever did came rushing back to me. And I was filled with deep regret that I didn't take the darn test 30 years ago. Well, it didn't exist 30 years ago. I am a 3, 3, 10, 3. Okay, I'm a 10 in Quick Start and a 3 in Fact Finder, which means, in simple terms, I would rather make stuff up than look it up. I'm not doing research. It's not my world. I'm an ad-libber. I like to think on my feet. I love the Q&A session. This will become apparent as we go further in the training program. But this is an interesting set of scores because this is somebody who instinctively loves to speak to crowds. So seminars and workshops are a great natural outlet for me. But now watch this. This is where it gets weird, okay? 3, 3, 10, 3. I used to do public seminars at a company called Lockheed Martin. Lockheed Martin Aerospace. They make jets. They make, very high-tech satellites and equipment. And I'm speaking to a group of aeronautical engineers. The whole audience was engineers. And here I am, the raging Quick Start, talking to engineers. Engineers, not too many Quick Start engineers. Oh, put the wings on. We'll see what happens. Don't just tape them on. Don't worry. He's got a parachute. Very few of those guys make it to the top of the aeronautical curve, okay? What you're dealing with engineers are mostly fact finder, follow-throughs, detail-oriented, very organized and thorough. So here I am giving my presentation. Did a good presentation because that's a natural skill for me. Opened accounts, and then one by one, the relationships exploded, and I never understood why until I took the Kolbe and I realized I'm the genetic opposite of engineers. I couldn't sustain the relationship because the things I did were counter to the way they did business, the way they understood stuff. All right, let me tie this all together for you because you're saying, well, what does this have to do with me as a speaker? It has everything to do. Whatever your Kolbe scores are, whatever your natural instinctive strengths are, because that's what Kolbe measures, that's going to be your natural speaking style. Are you a fact finder? Maybe. What's likely to happen in that case is when you get up in front of a room, you're going to give a lot of information, a lot of detail. Your presentation is going to be filled with charts, graphs, slides, numbers, statistics. God forbid somebody asks you a question, you're going to go way into too much detail. I say too much detail because again, I'm a quick start, and to me that's a lot, too much. Let's say you're a follow-through. Follow-through. Total organization. Follow-throughs are the people, just for example, who need to practice their seminars. You've heard this in other speaking classes, okay? They say, practice your seminar, get dressed in your suit, and practice in front of a mirror. You know what? That's a follow-through talking. That's the way they need to prepare for a public event. You may not need that. A quick start, giving a presentation, likely to be very haphazard, tough to stay on target. Sometimes they jump around from topic to topic. I've seen many quick starts who get up in front of the room and say, you know what, let's forget the presentation. Just ask me questions. Well, yeah, because they're naturally comfortable thinking on their feet and making stuff up. For most people, that can be dangerous. We're going to go another step further. Whatever type of presenter you are, and once you take your Kolbe, you'll be able to figure that out. And I'll help you with that, by the way. So you take your Kolbe and you figure out what your natural style is. Then what you have to do, and this is where it goes a little extra, you have to be prepared to adapt your style to the audience. The ideal presenter, the master presenter, recognizes first, what is my natural style? And then second, what do I have to do to my natural style to appeal to the bulk of the audience? Because you are going to be talking to fact finders, you're going to be talking to follow-throughs, quick starts, and implementers. So, bottom line is, as a presenter, the first step is you've got to know what your natural strengths are, and the Kolbe will identify those strengths for you. The Kolbe test costs $50. I don't get any part of the $50. You can take it on the Kolbe website. You can take it on my website. The advantage of taking it on my website, which is MicelliGroup.com, and you'll see a link that says Kolbe A Index. The advantage is that I will get a copy of your scores. I will see your scores the same time you do, and I will do a free Kolbe consultation with you. I will explain in excruciating detail what your natural instinctive strengths mean for success as a presenter and in the financial services profession in general. Call me if you have questions about this, but this is an extremely valuable and powerful tool that will guide you both in your preparation, in your design of the event, and then most importantly, in the way you deliver the event and in the way that you have to maximize the reach for each person in the room. Very, very useful. When you find your style, you can begin to have some real fun. That's the critical element. Again, you up in front of the room, having a great time, reaching as many people as possible in the way that they need to be reached.